Good morning, all. Children's Art Week this week. Obviously, there were meant to be three of us, but one cancelled at the last second. She's other commitments, but hope she comes on at some point in the future. We're live in the usual places, YouTube and the Facebook page, The Mental Health Warriors. But we're also, for the very first time, live on LinkedIn.
Woo.
I know. I got the email
Awesome
the other
stuff.
day. So, yeah. So that's
fabulous.
Exactly. So, for the viewers, wherever you are, please comment who you are, where you're tuning from, and let's hear your story. But I think we'll do things a little bit different for LinkedIn today. I'm thinking we'll introduce who we are, give a little bit of a backstory of who we are and what we do, and explain what we do on a weekly basis, and then we'll just dive right into Children's Art Week. Are you up for that, Kerry?
Why not? Sounds good to me.
Yeah. You know what? As a gentleman as I am, I'll let you go first.
Well, thank you very much. Well, as everybody can see, I'm Kerry Burr, the Human GPS, and I'm a master coach and master hypnotherapist. And I've always wanted to help people. I've always known that I wanted to help people. I've always had that passion, that desire. And for a long time, I didn't really know exactly how I wanted to help them. When I was about 5 years old, I decided I wanted to be a nurse. And then I realised that I couldn't cope with vomit. So, of course, that went out the window. And then as time went on, I thought to myself, actually, I'd quite like to be a teacher, but not as in a school teacher. I didn't want to do that. But I knew that I wanted to teach people, or more to the point, to help educate them. But I've always believed that there are far more important and essential things to educate people on, other than the usual subjects that we would all study at school. Not that there's anything wrong with those at all, you know. As I went through life, I used to I would question everything, and I've always had an analytical mind. But at the time, I was analysing the wrong aspects. I was asking the wrong questions, and I was. We're all of us are. We're very heavily influenced by our peers, our environment, so our parents, our caregivers, our teachers at school, our friends that we hang out with, our different environments, be it home, school, work, wherever we are. Those of us, or those of you, I should say, who are athletically minded and able and enjoy that kind of thing. Be it on the running track or on the football pitch or the cricket pitch or the tennis court, whatever. Those environments, they all influence us in varying degrees. And so we do tend to go through life with a core set of values and beliefs. And so we behave and we conduct our lives in accordance to those. Throughout most of my adult life, I've kind of coached people without really realizing it. Friends and work colleagues, all sorts of different people would come and talk to me about anything and everything, very often in confidentiality. They perhaps would have a relationship issue, or something was happening at work, and they didn't know how to deal with that kind of thing. And whilst I wasn't one for giving advice, because I could only say how I would deal with certain situations from my own perspective, in accordance to my own values and beliefs. They obviously, their models of the world are completely different to mine. Everybody's are. And so, you know, it was very much a case of there was absolutely no judgment whatsoever. It was complete acceptance on my part for their model of the world. And I would actually say to them, you know, this is how I would do it if I was in your shoes. However, you are different to me. Your life is different to me. Your values and beliefs are different to mine. And it would all depend on what their desired outcome would be. And I got told, oh, you should be a counsellor. You're really good at this. And I thought, okay, perhaps they've got a point there. And I did look into it. I looked into studying to become a counsellor. But then I quickly realised that actually that wasn't the way that I wanted to go. And whilst all of the counsellors out there, all of the psychotherapists out there do a wonderful job, and you know, so many people have such great experiences and results from working with counsellors and psychotherapists, it wasn't the way that I wanted to move forward. It wasn't the way that I wanted to help people. So it was after an abusive relationship and a nervous breakdown whilst I was in that abusive relationship, and then coming out the other side, receiving no treatment whatsoever because I had to wait 6 months for it, getting myself back to work, getting my own mindset changed around into a positive, more focused mindset, got myself back to work, and finally got away from that whole situation. And the journey since then has basically been one of research, searching for the right tools, the right way forward for me to be able to help people in the most effective way possible.
Yeah.
And I discovered it in coaching and NLP. And for those that don't know what NLP is, it's neuro-linguistic programming is what it stands for. To explain it would take quite a long time, but in its basic form, it's all to do with the language that we use when we're not only speaking to other people, but when we're speaking to ourselves. Okay, so becoming a master NLP practitioner has given me a wonderful, wonderful variety of different techniques that I can use, which positively and really effectively help my clients. Being a coach as well, a master coach and hypnotherapist, obviously, it is even more wonderful because it enables me to facilitate and ask the right questions of my clients and myself on occasions. You know, we're none of us absolutely perfect in our minds, in our thinking. So that's kind of my journey so far. But the most important thing to remember is that we are human. We are beings being human, and it's essential to acknowledge all thoughts, all feelings, all emotions, but to be aware of them and to not allow the more negative ones to take control of us and our lives. We have to be in control of them, and we do have that choice as to whether we control what we're thinking or allow our thinking and our feelings to control us.
There you go. And that's why you called the human GPS.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, obviously, I've got a bit of a froggy throat today, so I'm trying to get as much caffeine dabby as possible because I was like unwell all week. But me, obviously, I'm Adam Duval, the mental health warrior, and we've got a page on well, we're practically everywhere. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. We're gonna look to go on Spotify with all this as well. We're thinking about it. We're really thinking about it. Like I've been told to get on TikTok or Snapchat or whatever that is. I don't know.
TikTok's quite a big one at the moment, isn't it? It's quite a popular one.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just thoughts. Just thoughts.
Yeah.
Planning stage. Planning stage. Obviously, me, I was bullied from a young age, 3 years old, due to lack of understanding of who I was, what I've got, and that just carried on until I was adult, through to adulthood, and that's bullying by my own family as well. To the point I wanted to commit suicide. I even attempted it. The trauma, I was diagnosed with severe trauma just a couple of months ago. Even though I already knew what I had it, but severe trauma, what's the difference? But that could be another conversation. But even then, so this is where it is. I attempted suicide 18th of March 2019, and this is where I wouldn't say my journey began, because a little bit of advice we got from another guest we had on the show, Loren Michael Harris. Our journey actually starts the day we are born, because like obviously my partner, she stated, "Oh, my journey's only just started." He went, "That's impossible." No, it's true. No, that's impossible. How? Because he went, "How old are you?" 29. Then you'll be on multiple TV shows in being the first 29-year-old born. First person to be born in this world and labelled as 29 years old. So our journey actually starts the day we are actually born. And the adventure, obviously there's going to be rocks involved. So yeah, it's just getting over them, and this is what I am. I'm the mental health warrior. I fight with myself every single day. I win because I'm still here breathing. Yeah. And I'm on a mission. That's to end the stigma of mental health. Plain simple.
Definitely. Awesome stuff. Yeah, cool.
Plain simple.
Definitely. And it is a stigma, isn't it, with a lot of people? You know, it's something that I've been very, very passionate about for a very long time. That it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because when you consider that our mental health, when you look at the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, the human GPS, it's our brain, our minds. We have, our minds are kind of split into two. We've got the conscious mind, and we have the unconscious mind, or the subconscious mind, whatever you want to call it. I prefer to call it the unconscious mind, because I always think that if you put sub in front of something, it makes it sound like it's a bit smaller than it actually is, because the unconscious mind is far, far bigger than the conscious mind. And the unconscious mind, it was always thought to begin with was like just a particular section of the brain, but it's not. It's linked to every single cell throughout our entire bodies. I mean, we've all heard the phrase healthy mind, healthy body, right? And that is so true. So true. Okay. So, you know, it's one of those where I know that there are a lot of people who will sort of perhaps laugh at this. But we know that the body has its own healing properties. The body heals itself. And if we have those healing thoughts, those positive healing thoughts and beliefs, it will heal itself. You know, likewise, if we convince ourselves that we've got something nasty, you know, if we've got a bug or we've got this or we've got that, it will happen. It will happen. You know, or if we sit there worrying about stuff and thinking, oh, I don't want this and I don't want that, chances are it'll happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, all the while we're thinking positive, we're not thinking about the things that we don't want, but we're thinking about the things that we do want, then we're more likely to achieve those things that we do want rather than become afflicted with the things that we don't want.
Exactly.
So mental health covers physical health as well, really.
It does.
You know, and as you say, there is that stigma with mental health, and even today, a lot of people associate mental health with mental. Well, they consider it to be mental illness, but it's not. It's about mental wellness.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's so important. Mental wellness is so important. So important.
It is, and I think the stigma dictates from that word mental anyway, because when you hear those words mental health, mental well-being, mental illness, oh, that person's mental. No, they're not.
So
Yeah.
ask yourself then. This is what I say to some people that sort of come back to me with comments like that. And it's true. People do say these things. People do think those things. So I say to them, okay, then. So when I say to you about physical health, what does that mean to you? You know, I was having a conversation actually with somebody a bit earlier, just before we came onto this, about the very same things. You know, the difference between mental health and physical health, and the fact that there are many people out there that for them it's mental health is still a taboo subject. You don't talk about it.
Mm.
You know, but you'll quite happily tell people and plaster all over social media that you've just done couch to 5K, or you know, you're doing this particular diet and you've lost X amount of weight.
Yeah.
How great you feel. Yeah. Now that in itself is also affecting your mental health. And
Yeah.
if you're feeling great because you've just achieved that amazing feat, that couch to 5K, or that you know, you've gone through this whatever diet and you've lost X amount of weight, which is what you wanted to achieve, your mental health has focused on that and it's helped you to achieve that.
Yeah.
And therefore you are in a positive mindset. So you've got decent, at that moment, you've got decent mental health. All of us, our mental health goes up and down all the time.
All the
It's
time.
not just a thing that is attributed to somebody who has been diagnosed as having depression or PTSD, or you know, whatever, bipolar, anything like that. That's it's all connected. It's all connected. And this is why I say, you know, even the fittest of athletes, the most successful of athletes, can still have those doubts. And as
Yeah.
soon as you have a doubt come into your mind, as soon as you think about that, that is your mental health, your mental well-being, your mental the mind is a mental tool, for want of a better
Mm.
way of putting it. That we all have that. We all have that mental tool.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was having this conversation with someone I know just the other day. I think it was like yesterday, actually, about animals having mental health, whether it's depression, trauma, PTSD, anxiety. They can have it as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They absolutely do. You know,
There's no difference.
no, you know, look at a dog who's lost its owner, or perhaps it's been in a household where there have been two dogs,
Yeah.
and you know, the family loses one of the dogs. Watch the one that's left behind. Not just dogs. A very good friend of mine had two rabbits until recently. She lost one of them, which was very sad, and the other rabbit became depressed. You know, and so yes, it absolutely happens. I mean, she's thankfully got around that. She's bought a like a toy stuffed rabbit that looks not too dissimilar to the one that she lost. And, you know, it keeps the other rabbit company, the one that was left behind. And the other rabbit, bless her, she's mothering it. She's looking after it. And, you know, she's picking up. She's started to eat again, which is a really good sign. And she's looking happier. And, you know, she's hopping around in her run and in the garden. And it's, so, yeah, animals have it.
Exactly.
We all have it.
So, obviously, the benefit of us doing these lives is we come live every Monday morning, 11 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, now LinkedIn, because we cover all sorts of topics. We covered stress, we covered PTSD. What else have we covered?
We've talked about anxiety, self-care, quite a few, lots that we've talked about.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've covered loads. And obviously, my career will basically saying, if you're still ill, Adam, then I'm going to have to take over at 11 a.m. I'm like, no, I'm getting on.
I think you should let her on one occasion. I think you should. That could be fun. I mean, in the nicest possible way as well.
Yeah, I will do actually. Yeah. I'll let her do next week's then.
All right, cool. Sounds good to me.
She doesn't know that yet. So
but two Kerrys on the show.
People's gonna be like, yeah, so let's dive right into it. Children's Art Week. Now, obviously, when people hear that, they're going to thinking, oh, well, people can draw. It's like, that's not always the case.
It's not about, you know, whether people can or can't draw, though, is it? I mean,
there's a lot of art, whether it's sports, whether it's singing, music, all sorts of art, types of art. So obviously, like my son, I can't solve a Rubik's Cube for nothing. I can't. He's 9 years old and he can solve one.
Genius.
Yeah, he can solve a 3x3, and obviously the videos on YouTube anyway, where he actually guides people into doing it. My daughter, she can sing. So yeah, I was actually going to bring her on at some point, but she's practicing at the minute. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's art. It covers a multitude, doesn't it? And you know, we've all of us, every single one of us has got that creative side to us. You know, whether I know that there are some people who are extremely good at their different artistic, creative undertakings, you know, like painters and sculptors and musicians and photographers and, you know, just you name it. But it's something that they have found that resonates with them, that they enjoy doing, that they're good at doing. Or even if they're not that brilliant at doing it, they still enjoy it, so they continue with it. It's simply a hobby, you know, pastime, something that they can go and do, which they're going to enjoy themselves while they're doing it. And it's also a form of escapism, because they're focusing on that one particular thing. So everything else is kind of shut out for the duration. Whereas others, they will pursue it even further, to the point of making a decent living out of it. And, you know, as I say, music, as you said, sport, artists, painters, sculptors, photographers, you name it. I mean, all of these people will all have mental health issues. We've all got mental health issues. We will all have mental health issues. at some points in our lives at different times for different reasons, for different things. You know, and it's sometimes it is to do with the chemical imbalances. Something's not flowing properly. Something, you know, the neurons, the pathways, the synapses between the neurons are not necessarily connecting properly. So what's being transmitted isn't quite as effective to those people who are experiencing that as it would be for others who don't experience that. The brain is a very, very complex area. An area that I'm absolutely fascinated with, and I'm still learning a load about it, you know, still learning. But yeah, the art, getting back to that, it's a form of creativity, a form of relaxation, a form of escapism. And it's so essential. As I say, we've all got that creative side to us.
We do.
It's just what we choose to do with it.
So, obviously, we can hear your dog in the background.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Hey, but yeah, again, what's the weather like there? Just going off topic a little bit.
It's a bit overcast, cloudy, cool.
It's absolutely chucking it down here.
Lovely. It was chucking it down here last night.
But yeah, again, dogs can sense a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. No, they're probably just shouting at somebody that dared to walk past. They tend to do that.
Anyway, back on track.
Yes.
Yeah. So my question to you is, what do you think your art is?
Well, I think I have a number of different things, to be honest, when it comes to art. I mean, I used to think that I was no good at drawing. But then when I started to visualize something, this was a few years ago, when I started to visualize something, and I really sort of focused on the color, the shades of color as well, and where they were actually situated. And I started to I'd got a pad and I'd got some different colored pencils, and I just started to draw what I saw in my mind. Now, it was by no means perfect. It wasn't an exact replica of what I was visualizing, but I tell you what, it wasn't far off it. I surprised myself. Photography. I love photography. And I can't say that I experiment a great deal with my photography, but I do love black and white. Absolutely. There were some photos that just loan themselves so well to black and white. And I think sometimes black and white can tell a much bigger story. It gives you more emotion, more atmosphere to a photograph than if it were to be in full color, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Because obviously obviously I can see them now. We've got loads of photos around the wall, and we've got mix of coloured and black and white, and the effect it has on this is beautiful. But yeah, to the viewers as well, let us know in the comments what your art is, and yeah. Because I bet we all have them. I bet there is no betting about it. We all have them.
We do. Absolutely, we do. You know, I mean, music is another one for me. Music has always been a huge, huge part of my life.
Are you going to sing?
Oh, no, not now. No, I wrecked my vocal cords some years ago. I was yelling far too loudly and with too much force. And I sound a bit like a strangled cat now. But that doesn't stop me from singing along to music, my favourite tunes in the car, and thinking that I sound absolutely amazing, as we all do, I'm sure. But no, I mean, as I say, it's not just about listening to music. It's for me, it's about creating music as well, and you know that can come in different forms. As a kid, I learned to play the recorder. That was the first thing. I think most kids kind of learn to play the recorder, or at least they're taught it. Some take it up and some don't. I learned to play the violin, not brilliantly, but I can play it. I learned to play the guitar, again, not brilliantly, but I can play it. I can strum along to a lot of things. I can pick out tunes on a keyboard, you know. So I actually, I don't have one at the moment, but I had quite a decent electronic keyboard several years ago, and I used to think of myself as a female Mike Oldfield. So I would just create these melodies and you know, put them together, because I didn't have the multi-track recording facility. You know, it was difficult, and this was back in the day where personal computers were only just a thing. So you know, any kind of software, if you like, to be able to do something like that was cost a fortune. And unfortunately, I just wasn't earning enough money back then to justify spending on something for my own personal enjoyment. But I'm a self-taught drummer as well, and I absolutely love it. But music is an important part of my life, because music has its own vibration. There are different levels of vibration that different types of music will give off, different melodies, different tones. And I'm sure that, you know, we all like stuff that's got a good beat that we can dance to. You know, it gets us moving, and of course, dancing is good for us. That particular song comes on, and we're like, oh yeah, get up. So we're feeling happy. We're instantly feeling happy, and our vibration is instantly elevated. Our energy is that of a positive one, you know, and our thoughts are like, whoa, yeah, this is really great. This is really great. And I think pretty much everybody can relate to that. And that's one of the reasons why music is really important to me.
Yes.
Another reason why music is really important to me is that there are, again, certain tracks, certain sounds, certain tones that really, really resonate with me. I can feel them. I really can feel them deep inside. And that in itself, like, can really, really help, again, raise that vibration. And I feel it. I feel that music, I feel that vibration right down deep inside of me. And I know that there are many, many other people out there that if they stop and just be in the moment when they're listening to something that they really enjoy, and notice how they feel, notice what's going on inside of them, notice what they're thinking.
It goes back to last week's live, that being here in the now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But art is so important, you know. As I say, it's that escapism for people, and that's why it's so important to encourage it in children. And you know, not just the draw a picture of your house and your garden or your family, not just you know, play this piece of music on the recorder, not just sing along in the you know, in assembly or whatever hymn or song it is that you're singing. It's not just that. It is very much about, children are more creative than us adults, you know, because we tend to shut that side of us off a little bit as we get older. We become more responsible. We focus on other things that we consider to be priorities. You know, we have these financial responsibilities. So some will have families of their own. So of course, you know, their priority then is to make sure that their families are looked after, that they've got warmth and they've got shelter and they've got food and water. And so, you know, the creative side of people tends to go by the wayside. And I have noticed over the years, and I hear stories as well, that in some schools, not all, but in some schools, one of the first areas to experience budget cuts are connected with the arts, and that's so sad because we are all creative beings, and it is essential to each and every one of us to have that time where we can sit and be creative. For an adult, it might be deciding, what I don't know, what plants to have in the garden, what flowers they want, and where to have them. How is it going to look? Will this colour look all right with that colour, or would it be better over there? It's all creativity.
Well, our cats got creative yesterday because, well, my potatoes are now dead after I regrew them because I think we've just invented how to grow the fastest way to grow ginger.
Oh. Are you going to share?
I'll do one better. I'll show you. Hang on. How do I do this? You there? Ah!
Oh, hello. Where have you gone? There you are.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I'll do this.
Oh, bless. Oh.
Fastest way to grow ginger.
Oh dear. I did ask, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah.
You did. Yeah.
I
right.
did.
I'll just put this back. How to. Oh, you know what? I'll just hold it like that.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, so it is. I believe it is very, very important that right from a very young age that creativity is allowed, and that it's allowed to continue right the way through.
Yeah. It is. I don't even know what to say when it comes to arts, but we need to bring the creative side back into the community.
We absolutely do. Yeah. Yeah. It's to quite a huge degree, it's one of those things that's being forgotten about, certainly throughout this particular period of time that we're experiencing. Although, having said that, I did drive through a village not far from me a few days ago, and they have an annual Scarecrow festival type thing, and lots of different houses take part. So they actually create scarecrows, and they're sort of they're fixed up outside the houses, and they're all so bright and colourful, and different designs, and different sizes, different shapes, and it's quite amazing actually. It really kind of brightens up the place, and it's really lovely to see. So people have had the opportunity there to take part in something that gets their creative juices flowing.
Get the blood going.
And it's brilliant. Yeah.
Blood going.
Yeah, and it gives everybody else, that feel good factor as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even then, restrictions of today, they've actually brought the creative side out in people as well.
To a degree, they have, yes. I think because people have kind of where we've been essentially shut indoors, it's given us the time and the space to start doing
New
the things that we perhaps have pushed to one side because our lives have become so busy, and because of the way that we prioritize, we believe that certain things take priority over others, as I was mentioning before. And so, of course, that those kinds of things, that even hobbies, if it's just a hobby, it gets pushed to one side because it's not important. It's very important.
Yes.
It's all part of the self-care as well that we talked about the other week. And I keep saying, I can't stress it enough, it's so important for us to be in touch, in contact, and connect with that creative side of us.
Yeah.
And do you know what? If it's about drawing something and you think, no, I'm rubbish at drawing, I can't do that. Well, that's a bit of a limiting belief, and everybody can draw. Everybody can draw.
Look at I can't remember his name now. I think it was Al Pacino or whatever it was, or Leonardo da Vinci or something. His first painting was a scribble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a scribble, and look how much that sold for.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You're talking about scribbles. I was watching, it was a while back now, I was watching some videos on YouTube. There's different people around the world who do these property tours, properties that are actually on the market. So they're kind of like helping to market the property as well. And there was one guy, he was marketing a majorly expensive penthouse apartment somewhere in Dubai. So as you can imagine, it was very kind of elaborate, very almost a bit flamboyant, very, because they like really high quality things, don't they? And they like the gold, and they like their jewels. And in this particular apartment, the person that owned it at that point had got his art collection in there. Well, the art collection was actually worth more than this. One piece of art in his art collection was worth more than the asking price for this apartment. And this particular apartment was going to be fetching several million. Okay. That's Great British pounds as opposed to whatever the currency is over there. With this particular bit of art, there was a series of it. It was done by one specific artist. I say artist. The person that created these pieces of art. And remember, art is very personal. What one considers to be absolutely wonderful, another will look at and say, a bit like the pile of bricks in the Tate, or the whatever it was, wherever it was, the National Art Gallery. Excuse me, several years ago. But honestly, these pieces of art were nothing more than scribbles.
There you go.
And I looked at it and I thought, blimey, I could do that. Would I get tens of millions of pounds for an A3 sized canvas with a bit of scribble on it? Probably not. But it's all perspective. It's individual perspective. And, the guy that's produced these works of art, that's his expression. It's his way. Artists tend to express certain thoughts, certain emotions, don't they, through their art. And so, of course, everybody has their own way of expressing that. And whatever this artist was going through at the time, whatever he was experiencing at the time, he was expressing that through what I consider to be scribble. So you can't really say that that's not art, because it meant something to that guy, and it obviously meant something to the person that bought the collection.
Yeah. It is, because when you're moving into your new house, your new flat, wherever, even if it's your very first house, and you look at it when you're going for a viewing, you don't look at it like, oh, that's going to be somewhere where you live. No, you see it as a blank canvas. Where we're going to put that, where we're going to put that, we could put that there. It's a canvas.
It absolutely is.
The art comes out in you.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, many of us, most of us are really, really busy. We have busy lives, for whatever reason. And as I say, we're kind of sidetracking onto priorities here. This is a different, that's going to be a different conversation, I feel. Not necessarily one for this week, but we do. We are creatures of habit. We will prioritize. And whatever is our top priority, or whatever we have on our list of priorities, is purely, again, an individual thing. So, I know I tend to walk into, when I've been looking for somewhere to live in the past, I've done a mix of things, to be honest. I've walked into somewhere and I've thought, wow, I could do this with that, and that wall would look great with that particular wallpaper or colour on it. I could do this colour scheme, and I could have the sofa there. I could have whatever, And so, yes, I am looking at it as essentially a blank canvas.
Yeah.
But equally, I've gone into places and I'm looking at them. Is this place big enough for me? What's the functionality of this place? Bearing in mind, I've got 2 dogs. Can I shut the dogs out of certain rooms whilst I'm out? Can I shut them into one room even while I'm out? Or at the time, in the early days of having them, it was, is this room going to be big enough to fit everything else in it that I need, and 2 large dog crates? Is the garden secure enough? All sorts of different things. And it all depends on what we are prioritizing at that time. But I do agree. To a certain degree, we have to go in and view these places as a blank canvas.
Yeah.
But then you might have a couple go and look at a place, and they'll opt for, let's say, a new build, for example, where pretty much most of the decorating will have already been done for them, and to a degree, they could perhaps even choose colour if they're willing to pay a bit extra. I'm sure that these places would put up wallpaper for them of their choosing, rather than the statutory white or magnolia or whatever it is that they use. So for them, their priority is not, oh, how can we decorate the place? What colour paint can we use? What colour schemes are we going to have? What wallpaper will we choose? It's about being able to move into somewhere and just instantly live in that house without having to do a thing. But for others, it is a case of, I like the feel of this property, and it's in the right location, and the rooms are all the right sizes, and there's so much we could do to this. I could do this in the living room so that it looks like, it looks completely different, and it has the right feel to it for me, or it has the right look to it for me. Anything. But as I say, we do live in a very, very busy and demanding society. So, you know, quite often we're not looking at the possibilities. We're looking at the what does it look like right now? How much work does it mean I'm going to have to do to get it looking like I want it to look? And this is again, that's another conversation. That's about reframing those thoughts. And
maybe that's
how important is it to you?
Maybe that's what we could talk about next week.
Reframing
the mindset.
Yeah.
I like that name. I do. But yet again, it won't be me though, will it? It'll be Kerry.
That's all right. If Kerry's happy to chat about that, I'm more than happy to chat about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that is another breath taker. 3rd time in a row. So thanks for that, Kerry.
My pleasure, as always.
Yeah, I'll end this now. We have got a couple more podcasts today. One at 1 o'clock with Connor Gates. He's a sports person. He's a footballer. So a creative side. I think it's Creative Day. And then we've got a disability warrior. He's now on the mental health warrior team as well.
Brilliant.
J.R. Reed. He's got autism. So yeah, Creative Day. Let's do this. Yeah, so I'll end this now. I've enjoyed our first live on LinkedIn. Please put in the comments and share in the awareness, and see you at 1 o'clock. Bye for now.